Hello, this is Benjamin Price reporting for Kids First, and today I'll be interviewing Anthony and Joe Russo, the directors of the new film Avengers Endgame. So let's get started.
All right.
When you both signed on for Captain America the Winter Soldier, your entrance into the MCU, what appealed to you about this franchise, and what did you want to contribute to it?
Well, I think Joe and I both remember the first time we saw the original Iron Man movie in the movie theater, and it really stuck with us. We were amazed by the movie, and especially like we've loved comic book characters all of our lives since our childhood, but to see in that movie, to see the visual effects reach a whole new level. I mean, Iron Man looked amazing in that movie, and then also just the complex character that was presented through Robert Downey Jr. In that movie, and also the direction was very sensitive, very humanistic in how it approached the characters. And I think all those also, and there was a great sense of humor in it. I mean, all those things really appeal to Joe and I, and that I think we could have never guessed at that point that someday we would be invited to become a part of the MCU as filmmakers. But I think that something struck us there for sure.
No, I thought it was great.
So Endgame just opened with the highest worldwide opening of all time at $1.2 billion. How does it feel to be on your way to sticking it to Avatar as the highest grossing movie of all time in the realm of box office and garnering so much love from fans and critics alike?
Well, it's always impossible to say where these things are going to net out or how they're going to play or what the legs are going to be for a movie like this. We have no idea. What I can say is that, we're ecstatic. We're ecstatic that fans have responded, that people are loving the movie, that they're having a real emotional response in the film. And it's the thing that we're most proud of is that, we're fans ourselves. We grew up comic book geeks and playing Dungeons and Dragons and watching movies and cartoons, and we're pop culture fanatics. So I think to be in a position like this, to be able to deliver an experience to people that is meaningful to them, that is the most important part of it, because we remember when we were kids walking out of Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi and Indiana Jones, and and the smile that was on our faces and the feeling that we had about it, just wanting to talk about it with everyone in our lives. Now to be able to create a similar experience for audiences today and for kids today is it's so important to us.
You've been entrusted with putting the finishing touch in a 22-movie tapestry. How did you put your own imprint on characters and storylines that have been explored by other filmmakers?
Well, every one of these movies we've approached from a very personal point of view, starting with Winter Soldier. I mean, we think about, number one, what are those qualities in the character that we respond to? What are we thinking about, especially because we began our storytelling in the MCU with Captain America, and that character is such a symbol. We did a lot of thinking about, well, what does that symbol mean in today's world? What are the things going on in the world today that are giving us anxiety or tension, or where's there conflict zones that Captain America could intersect with? And this is just coming from a place where we're thinking very personally about our own experience of living our lives, and what is that meeting point between the narrative and the character and us. So the whole jumping off point is a very personal sort of jumping off point, and I think we've been able to carry the story forward from Winter Soldier through Civil War, through Infinity War, and now into Endgame. It's a very four movie arc for us, so we have a very deep investment in the characters and the story.
You directed Stan Lee in 4 Marvel films. What was your experience like working with him on set?
It was amazing. I think that, again, having been comic book fans growing up and fans of the Spider-Man cartoon show, and, always hearing his voice and and just seeing his picture in the books that we read, he was a huge personality during our childhood. So certainly very impactful on us, and his stories were very impactful on us. I think it's really where we learned narrative as kids. I was 9 or 10 years old reading comic books. And I think having him on set, everybody would turn into a kid. The minute you hear his voice, it's Pavlovian. You would, just react in a way that made you happy. And he was always fun and great to the crew and made a lot of jokes, and he'll be dearly missed.
Joe, you've starred as Dr. Fine in The Winter Soldier, Dr. Theo Broussard in Civil War, and now Grieving Man in Endgame. Can we expect a team-up movie coming somewhere in Phase 4 for these characters?
Yeah.
And how do you decide where you want a cameo?
And who's to say these aren't all the same character? Interesting.
That's what I said on the way.
Wow, look at that.
There's a conspiracy afoot. It's just so we started off our careers. I was an actor. He was in law school. And we both decided to make a movie together and decided to direct it. I actually performed in our first movie. And then it's just become a running joke since then that I'll take cameos every now and then. We find that, there's value in doing the cameo, or that there's something unique about it, or add some, texture to the movie. There's something that we want to say with the cameo. So it's really just, it's specific to very personal reasons for us of why I do it.
This is at least your third visit in 3 years to the Smithsonian, Washington, D.C. So first of all, welcome back.
Thank you.
What keeps you coming back to D.C., particularly so close to the release of your latest film?
Well, look, again, our Marvel road began with Winter Soldier. That movie was set in Washington, D.C., and we shot a portion of it here in Washington, D.C. So our road with the MCU very much begins here in Washington, D.C. So it's a special place for us. And again, having worked initially with that character, Captain America, so heavily, and it's kind of iconography and its resonance with the identity of the country in some ways. This place is a very special place for these stories. And it's been our great pleasure to keep revisiting DC with each movie and talking to audiences here, talking to fans here, and really just thinking about these movies in the context of what the city represents.
What influenced your decision to shoot both Infinity War and this film entirely in IMAX?
I think we're huge fans of a great cinematic experience, and I think IMAX is a great cinematic experience. The screen is enormous. It's sort of immersive in a way, and these movies lend themselves towards that aspect ratio. There's a lot of verticality to these characters. There's tall characters. There's lots of fantastical settings and environments. We just felt that it was the right choice creatively for the movies.
I'm a big fan of Community. So what did you take from ensemble comedies like that show and Arrested Development and brought it to your work in the MCU?
It's a good question. I think we learned a lot from our work there. And, here's one of the strangest things that we learned is that when you orchestrate comedy, it's very similar to how you orchestrate action, bizarrely enough, because both are really dependent upon rhythm and timing and choreography, and they're also very dependent on a performer's ability to interact with those ideas in the moment. Actor, things don't get really funny until an actor is very much inspired by the moment and feeling the moment. Same thing with action. You can have something preconceived in your head about an action beat, but until an actor actually can own it and find a version that they can actually physically deliver and perform, you can't really form it until you understand what that is. So there's a lot of similarities between the two, action and comedy. Also, I would say working with large ensembles, which we did in those TV shows, was really good prep work for what we would be asked to do in the MCU in terms of the large number of characters we're dealing with. Also, the other thing with television too, one thing that makes Marvel special as a film is that it's serialized storytelling. And with those shows, we were tracking characters from year to year, tracking story beats from year to year. We were thinking about Easter eggs that we could either foreshadow or call back to. So there was a lot of interconnectivity in the narrative there, which is, again, something muscles we use very much in the MCU movies.
How do you prepare actors for motion capture to get an emotional performance through today's technology?
It's a great question. And by the way, I think you've asked some of the best questions of anyone we've talked to in the last month about this movie. So thank you. I think It's a unique experience. Obviously, you're wearing like skin tight pajamas with ping pong balls stuck to your whole body. You have a camera mounted to your face. But Brolin used to describe it as like working in theater or black box. He felt like it was experimental acting, and he did find a way to make it very truthful and emotional. And I think a lot of it has to do with the way that you direct the actor. You have to give them very simple direction that is very succinct and clear about what you're looking for, and talk to them in ways that they'll immediately understand and can access the emotions that you need. So with Brolin, a lot of times we would refer to Thanos as sort of a gangster character, and give him directions based on the way you would direct someone playing a gangster. And I think he found that a very clear way to access that character.
So you guys have started branching out into producing. So what's next for you guys after Endgame?
Well, we've got a movie with Chadwick Boseman called 21 Bridges that we're producing. A movie with Chris Hemsworth called DACA. It's on Netflix that we're producing. And running our own studio. It's called Agbo, named after the pseudonym that I use when I act in movies. His name is Cozy Agbo. And Anthony and I are going to be working on a film with Tom Holland called Cherry that we're going to start sometime in the fall. As directors.
Well, good luck on all those films, and massive congratulations on this one. Thank you for the interview. This is Benjamin reporting for Kids First. Don't forget to see this film in theaters now. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Benjamin.
I like this one.